It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
It's Sunday morning, time to talk cars for the next 60 minutes on your weekly automotive radio experience. I'm Nick Miles. You're listening to America's automotive radio show, Test Miles, locally created, nationally celebrated. A lot to talk about this morning. Let's start off with some personal news here. So I had an event over the weekend which was quite dramatic. My nephew, who was in the studio Christmas last year, and I remember William and Nicholas, William is on the British gymnastic team. And he got enough points to go to the World Championship. Went to the World Championship over the weekend, with the World Cup, they call it, which was in Portugal. And there were 4 boys that made the team for tumbling, which is what he does. We got the message late Friday night that he hadn't made the final. By
one spot or something,
yeah, one
right?
spot. He came in 3rd, and only the top 2 boys go through. The judges failed math. Overnight, they recalculated the score when they re-added them up and found out that he actually had got 2nd place. So my sister's immediate reaction was not, it's incredible for her son, but oh, the poor boy that thought he made it through didn't make it through.
That was my first thought,
right.
The empathy for the
So
other kid.
I saw video this morning, which I posted on Facebook. William actually was the number 1 at one point during it, but he couldn't hold on to that 1st place position, but did come in 4th in the world. So congratulations, William Breslin. 4th in the world in gymnastics tumbling. So that was the first thing. The second thing is just want to send out our wishes to Sean. He's not doing well today. He's sick. So we want to send out get well soon for Sean. All right, let's talk about car stuff. Of course, Misfits, Rascallions, and Ne'er-Do-Wells in the studio this morning. Brad Boyer, Old Man Brad, and Genya the intern. What's coming up on the show this morning? We'll talk about what we've been driving. I've been driving the Ford Escape and the Honda Accord. Brad, you've been in...
the Highlander Hybrid.
All right, we'll talk about that. Also coming up on the show, VW admits, to the cheating scandal for diesel. The company is releasing a new Passat this week. Probably the hardest time for them to be doing so, but we'll be finding out what this car has to offer and why customers should really consider it after all the news that's been going on. America is going SUV crazy. Mercedes-Benz are overhauling its entire SUV lineup. That includes the GLK, which now becomes a GLC. And I spent 3 days in Atlanta. We're driving that. So they have a new home in Atlanta. It's the new headquarters for Mercedes-Benz. We'll find out all about the GLC. And if you want to freshen up your car, now imagine your car's paint job doesn't look, it looks kind of bad from the outside. It looks
I can imagine it,
yes.
actually.
Does your car look bad?
I went outside and looked at it.
Yeah, your car needs a little bit of TLC. Well, rather than having it resprayed, we have a solution for you. Some guys are going to tell us how you can actually make your car look pretty for about 20% of the cost of respraying your vehicle. So this is the part of the show when we talk about what we have been driving this week. I'll start off with the Ford Escape. Now, Ford's sales numbers are through the roof. And it's not immediately obvious why until you actually get into their vehicles. Because I see them on the road and they don't seem to be that amazing just looking at them. But when you drive them, they actually meet all the marks. The Escape is a 5-door crossover. If you're considering running out and buying a car before the end of the year, great time to do so. Turbocharged engine, delivers strong performance, high fuel economy, many high-tech features, very agile in the handling, high-quality cabin and comfort, and seating is very comfortable. The lacks of in this vehicle, it lacks interior storage. The cubbies seem to be a little bit lacking. Awkward base control layout. If you don't have all the bells and whistles in this car, it's kind of shabby. And I think really nobody's going to be buying a vehicle quite like that. And it's not quite as roomy as its rivals. 2.5-litre 4-cylinder or a 1.6-litre 4-cylinder, or you could even go to the 2-litre 4-cylinder. Between 168, 240 horsepower, 6-speed auto, front and all-wheel drive. You can get the best miles per gallon in the Escape, 29 miles a gallon. So what does it go up against? Well, it's a Honda CRV, the Hyundai Tucson, Nissan Rogue, Toyota RAV4, Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, the Mazda CX-5, Subaru Forester, Jeep Cherokee, the Tiguan, the Sportage, and the Traverse. A lot of cars in that segment.
So why is it that Ford doesn't seem to have much buzz? I mean, we look at these cars, and maybe it's just us. We talk about the other ones, and it's we're just comfortable with Ford? What is it?
I think they've managed to make cars which scoot under the radar, and they meet all the needs that everybody wants, but they're not crazy.
So
apart from the Mustang, which is probably the best car, one of the best.
So this is the boyfriend you should be with.
Yes.
But we don't always go there until we're older and smarter.
Yeah, your life will be much simpler with a Ford. It seems to be like they're not doing anything crazy, and they're hitting every box. They're checking every box, but they're not doing anything crazy. And to be honest with you, they've invented this new trim level called Platinum, which they now have in the Explorer. That's more of a luxury vehicle. So you can go from anything from the base, very trim, corporate, maybe as something a city would buy for its employees, all the way up to a real luxurious version of the vehicle, which means that you can still get an Explorer, you can still get in these vehicles like the Escape, you can still get into the titanium version of the Escape, and you can have all the bells and whistles, or you can get into the S version, which is the base version, $24,345.
Also, to add a point on, if you are planning to buy any Ford product, they're going to be launching some huge deals over the next 3 months, starting of about, I think, November 4th or November 6th.
Yeah, it's usually till the end of the year because they're trying to push all their sales numbers up towards the end of the year, but everybody does it. We always think of the holiday period as December to Remember from Lexus. They kind of own that. So that's kind of cool. It was a cool. Also, I've been in the the Honda Accord, which is the second best selling. It's interesting how they do these numbers calculations. If you look at pure sales volume, the number one midsize sedan in North America is the Toyota Camry. But if you take out the fleet purchasing, which Honda don't do, the Honda Accord is more bought by individuals. It also happens to be the number one vehicle in California, the number one sold vehicle in California. So the Accord's a big deal for Honda. They have a new version, a four-door family sedan, high-quality interior, refined and efficient powertrains, exceptional ride and handling, balance, quick acceleration, generous standard features, and available coupe style, which is what I've been driving. Touchscreen interface. They've got things like the lane watch system that you can get in these vehicles. Lots of collision and safety features, especially the ACE body structure. And I would say adaptive cruise control in this is excellent. Touchscreen interface isn't as easy to use as its competitors. I have a hard time with with Honda and Acura. I have a hard time with Honda and Acura. Their Bluetooth interface seems to be chunky, difficult to use, but everything else about their system takes a little getting used to, but it's great. I would also say that it's not as pretty as its competitors on the inside, but it is fairly usable. You can get a 2.4 liter or a 3.5 liter V6, up to 278 horsepower in the Honda Accord. They've also added those dual eye headlights in the front, and Honda have started to go to the Acura transmission where you push the buttons, which is one of my least favorite things in the world.
You talked about that initially, and then I got into the vehicle. Couldn't agree more.
I think it'll be fine if you own it, but if you drive it for a week like we do, I'm looking down every time I need to change gear. And if you need to go into reverse quickly because you backed out into the middle of a street and there's a car coming, yeah, it's like it takes extra seconds, which puts stress on me. 6-speed auto, CVT 6-speed manual as well. So front-wheel drive version, 31 miles a gallon is the combined 37 on the highway, and it goes up against a whole host of cars we mentioned already. 4 different trim levels, $22,925. Not a bad starting price. Still a little more than things like the Passat, but it's about $1,000 more than the Passat.
Again, yet another vehicle that just does everything it's supposed to do.
Right.
And dependable and quality and all that.
Absolutely.
And I love their safety features. The cameras, when you flip on a turn signal and you can see on your screen what's going on the side.
The lane watch. All right, Brad, what have you been driving? We've got a few minutes
had the 2015 Toyota Highlander Hybrid, which is the 7-passenger, 3-row. I don't know for sure whether it's a SUV, crossover, minivan, truck. It does everything.
Yeah, it's a very big mid-size SUV, I think.
And it's got 3 powertrains, the 4-cylinder and the 6-cylinder, which can run you somewhere between the $30,000 to $40,000 range, and then you go up from there with a few added features. The hybrid is quite a bit more money. It's about $6,500 more than the V6, which will take you well over 5 years to get that money back. Ironically, though, it's the most powerful of all of the offerings there. The 3.5 V6 is coupled with a high-torque electric drive motor engine. It gets you 28 miles to the gallon. It's really enjoyable to drive. We are going through this transition with my wife where she's moving from the minivan demand, And this is the vehicle. She came out and she said, this is the one I want now. Because it's got the 4 captain's chairs.
You're going to get a 4th job now, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. So it's got 4 captain's chairs. The one I had, there's 2 options. They're pretty nicely equipped. One is the Platinum that we had, which runs about $53,000. We'll probably not be going that route. But great vehicle.
Really?
Drives great. I really give this a 10 out of 10. I'd probably go with the V6 over the hybrid just because I won't keep a car for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, you're probably 8 years more likely to get your money back on that.
Correct.
I would agree with you. Everything you said. I think it's one of the best vehicles out there. My only downside to this vehicle, it's priced a little high.
It is high, and you have to compete with the Lexus, possibly. But there is a one of my favorite features is the driver Easy Speak with an amplifier where you can talk to the kids in the back.
You don't have to turn your head, the microphone, and it puts it in the back speakers. Love that. Plus, you can get like 52 juice boxes in the middle. You're listening to Test Miles at FM News 101 KXL. Coming up, we're going to find out all about the new VW Passat. That's next. I'm Nick Miles.